Okay, so I am camping now and just had to go to the grocery store. Crazy. I don't want to forget. So I'm going to do this video like right now. Okay, so I got a text from a person that I love, a healing client / student / friend that I just adore and love. And we're talking, and I was telling it, it's actually, because I went camping by myself, and she asked me some questions, and then I saw somebody from my old work. So I used to work at this place that I worked as a pilot. I worked as a line guy, line person, which fuels airplanes, washes airplanes. But I did every job in this place. So I worked 7 days a week, and I flew and I washed and fueled airplanes and moved them around with a little tug. It's really fun, and everybody there pulled on the same side of the rope. Then there was this person I had to hire. I had to hire someone. I hired this person. I thought that they were a great person. I don't want to get too far into the story. They ended up really screwing me over. and somebody from that job I just saw while I was camping by myself. It was very crazy, because this is like 10 years ago. And because that person took my job, I ran out of money. I had set myself up to work from home with this company that I'd worked for all this time, 7 days a week. I did every job that they had. I hired this person. I took a pay cut to hire this person because they wanted money. I thought this would be great. I put her in my wedding. I set myself up. She stole that job. She had to do something shady to do it. So I don't want to go into that story. But it's a very old story. It's a 10-year-old story. And because she took my job, and I ran out of money, my husband says, because I was like, I'm gonna have to be a cashier at a gas station overnight when you are home, you can take care of Johnny, and I'll go work as a cashier, like a gas station somewhere. And he says, my husband goes, honey, why don't you just teach people that thing that you do? You know, they all say you help them so much. So that's healing stuff. So it's actually my husband's idea for me to start doing healing work and teaching people healing and stuff. And he fully supports me, even though he has no idea what I do. It's very funny, because he's like, that thing that you do, that people always say that you help them so much. So it was because of this quote-unquote bad story, this person who stabbed me in the back. It's an old story. So I was telling my student / client / friend, she asked about when I went camping by myself, and I said I saw this guy from my old job, and he didn't know any of this stuff. And I said, this person, and then I went into the old version of this old story. Okay, before I started doing what I'm doing, I'm doing it full time now, and because it's an old story, I was telling it the old way, because I hadn't even thought about it. And I said that this person who, stabbed me in the back, that she's a psychopath. I'm not proud of that at all. I was driving. There's no excuse. It's no excuse. I obviously wasn't being impeccable with my word. The old story came out the old way. So, no excuses, but oh my God. So here's what happened. My student client friend said, wow, it's not like you to, call somebody that. But I had a friend who was a psychotherapist who basically said, had questioned me on why I was friends with that person, because the psychotherapist thought that this person could be easily diagnosed with a condition. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so I felt, this is where the self-righteousness comes in. This is where I make it okay that I called someone this name. And so I call her this name, and then the phone dies. My phone dies while I'm trying to talk to my student client friend. And so I know instantly, like, what did I do? And it's not okay for me to just call people a psychopath. And it's funny because this morning or maybe it was when I was putting my camper, I have a pop-up camper and it takes a lot of work to set it up. And there's this guy I love. He's hilarious, this black comedian named Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle used to have the Dave Chappelle Show, and he's very funny. But he was serious one time in an interview, and he was talking about never call somebody crazy. It is so mean to disregard a person and call them crazy. Never call them crazy. It's like the meanest thing you can do. And that's basically what I was doing. So I knew this. It was reinforced this morning. And then here I am telling this old story mindlessly, totally mindlessly, calling this person who I put in my wedding, who I loved, and I still love. I love from here, though. I was calling her a psychopath. Because that's the old word that I used to use in the old story. Because I never have thought about it, and I moved past it. But so then here's what happened. I called this person a psychopath in my story. My phone cut out, and then I park in the driveway for the grocery, and I get out and I'm walking towards I have to go in the dollar store first, and there are 2 carts right in the middle of the thing. So I start to take those 2 carts because the truck was trying to get around them. So I'm going to take these 2 carts and just leave them up on the sidewalk. And this woman starts screaming at me, "Ma'am, that's my job!" And I said, "I'm just moving them out of the way." She's like, "That's my job. Leave them." And I said, "Well, I'm going to be using one. I'm going to." So she says, "You can take one. You can take one." I was like, okay. So I put my hands up. Okay. So I take one that's the most in the way, and it made her mad that I was moving the other one out of the way. Okay. So then the dollar store is right next to Stop and Shop. So I was just going to use my Stop and Shop cart, swing through the dollar store for the one thing I needed, and it's a surprise for my daughter. One thing that I needed, and then use the same cart to go grocery shopping. She starts flipping out. And, okay. She starts going nuts, screaming at me. Absolutely screaming. And I was like, fine. I won't take it in there. But please leave it so I can use it. And then she's still screaming at me. And I said, and I think she probably had a head injury, because this is what happens. People change this. She probably had a head injury, and then your personality can change like this. So I said, "You have anger issues." And she goes, "No, I don't." And I said, "You do. It's okay, but you do have anger issues." And then she called me a fucking asshole. And this total stranger was like right there, and said to me, came and found me in the dollar store, and she's like, "You have to tell this people at Stop and Shop." So she did, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so here I am. I'm talking about a person who's a psychopath. And then I managed, and then the woman who went and told on the woman who called me an effing a-hole, the manager told her she's not even working right now. She's off shift. She worked this morning and she's supposed to be off. So she's in the parking lot doing a job off the clock. Okay. So then I'm in the grocery store, and I'm shopping around, and the lady at the deli is really rude to me, and then the cashier is really rude to me, like really rude. And the cashier is supposed to be putting the stuff into the bag. It's like, it's not Walmart, but at Walmart, there's no like counter, so they scan a thing and they put it right in the bag, and then they twirl the little roundy thing. Well, the cashier wasn't putting any of my crap in any of the bags, so I was bagging for myself, And I was like thinking in my head, what? There's something wrong here. And then I go, and then my angel showed me, and I said to the cashier, I said, oh, I think you're supposed to put these into the bag, like after you scan them. Like, doesn't that make more sense? Because they don't give you any space here to work with. And she goes, well, the last lady was mad that I wasn't doing it, so I don't know what people want. She goes, I just don't do anything right. And then it dawned on me, so what the cashier was happening for her was she was taking the last customer who wasn't me, bringing it into the new relationship that's now with me. Of course, it's a cashier, so she has relationships much faster. But in your life, in your relationships, I had a boyfriend who lied to me, and then told me the truth, like, later. And I was like, well, we have to break up, because you lied to me. And he's like, well, I'm telling you the truth now. And I'm like, but you lied before. If you're going to lie about that, you're going to lie about anything. But he was used to dating someone who it was better if he lied. She didn't truly want to know the truth. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work anyway, So people take what they've gone through, like their past relationships, they bring them into the new relationships, and then that's how they're behaving from there. So this was a cashier who I could interpret this. But anyway, the cashier, so I said to her, I said, this is how my experience with this grocery store started, by getting screamed at in the parking lot by this woman. Of course, everybody knows who she is, whatever. She's like, you have to tell the manager. So we were laughing. So the cashier, who was mean to me at first, because why? Because I was carrying this story. I had started on my lovely phone call that could have been just a lovely check-in, happy, fun, how you doing, I love you thing. She's just like, how did your camping go by yourself? And I was talking about the storm, and then I was talking about this guy that I hadn't seen in my job. I could have told the story in a much better way, now I know. But I told the story in a way that really didn't just lower my vibration, but it gave me a story to keep creating. And when you raise your vibration, you're going to manifest things quickly. And so look how quickly I manifested a psychopath. And then and then somebody being mean to me, that story. And then the person at the deli was mean to me, and then the person at the cashier was mean to me. And I was like, wow, everyone's mean in the store. And when I had the thought, wow, everyone's really rude, everyone's really mean in the store, and I'm like, okay, what am I saying? What am I holding? What am I vibrating out? Well, I'm vibrating out. I'm telling myself this story, and then the universe always just thinks you want to be right. So this is what the law of attraction is. It's just making you right. It's like, oh, you want everyone to be mean to you? Okay, here you go. It's easy enough. It's like a magic wand. So once I realized, so I was talking about psychopath, and then that lady was screaming at me. I'm like, oh, I manifested that. And then I go, airstream, 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 airstream. And then I've just been saying new airstream, new airstream, new airstream, so that I can tell a new story. So anyway, I love you. And I just have to relearn how to tell that story, if I need to tell it or I don't need to tell it. But I need to. So what I'm going to do, when I'm in my next meditation, I'm going to meditate on that 10-year-old story. I'm going to deal with the parts that clearly I thought I had dealt with. I thought it was over. I thought I was over it. Clearly I'm not, because it wouldn't have come out still like it did. You know what I mean? So I'm going to meditate with that 10-year-old story, and I'm going to tap, and I'm going to really get rid of it. And this is a person who I need to love again. I just need to love. I don't need to call up and say, let's go have tea. And right now, all of her personality flaws are I'm just being reminded of all the times she did things that made it hard to love her. So I need to go through that 10-year-old story, and I need to deal with, clear out, and really get rid of all the crap that I was telling mindlessly, because all the crap that I was saying mindlessly was the old me, 10-year-old. I've moved past that, but I need to actually clear it out, get rid of it. So it's very, very cool. So this is, life is happening for me, not to me. It's happening for me. Here's a person that I loved enough to put in my wedding, and I have to love her again, but I never need to see her again. So it's just very cool. It's a very beautiful thing. And I didn't know this dirt was living inside me until right now. I didn't know that I had this lower vibrational energetic baggage, is what it is. It's baggage in me. And it's time to get rid of it. So on the next meditation, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I love you. Thanks for listening to me. Oh, you guys are the best.